Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Royce, Empire State Development's Corporate Secretary. Welcome, everyone, to this morning's meeting. And before we begin, I would ask that everyone please mute your line unless you're speaking. Of our directors joining by video today, we'll do a quick roll call for the benefit of those joining us by phone before we get started. Chair Kevin Law.
Here.
Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development, Hope Knight.
Here.
Hilda Rosario Escher.
Here.
Robert Simpson.
Here.
John Wong.
Here.
Vincent Martin, designee for the Superintendent of New York State Department of Financial Services, Adrian Harris.
Here.
And I think we will expect Sherry Gleed and Michael Rosen to join us, but we can get started. You have a quorum, Chair Law.
Great. Thank you, Debbie. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August meeting. I'd like to now call the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation doing business as the Empire State Development Corporation for this Thursday, August 18th, 2022. As Debbie mentioned, I'd ask everybody to please mute your audio until and unless you are speaking. By visual observations, it seems like many people are not on mute. So if they could mute their phones, that would be great. And when you are speaking, directors, please identify yourself so those people in the public who are observing our meeting today do know who is speaking. I would like to note for the record that in accordance with current legislation, this meeting is being conducted by video and teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting written comments by noon yesterday. And I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received in connection with any of today's agenda items. As always, all of the directors have received significant written materials in advance of today's meeting. And of course, directors can feel free to ask questions at any time to staff during the presentation. I will now ask, before we get to the agenda, if any directors have any potential conflict of interest with respect to any items on the agenda. So if you can make the appropriate disclosure.
Yes, this is Hilda. And Ibero-American Action League has for approval the entrepreneurial centers, and I was the former CEO for Ibero.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
is Rob Simpson.
Thank you, Hilda, so noted.
This is Rob Simpson. I'll recuse myself from the item related to SUNY Morrisville, as I previously served on the President's Advisory Council there.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Duly noted. Okay, so we are going to go right to the agenda. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the June 30th, 2022 directors meeting. Unfortunately, the July board meeting minutes are not prepared yet. So we'll shoot to approve the July board meeting minutes, perhaps with the August meeting minutes at the September board meeting. So the minutes of June 30th, 2022 are before us. I will move them. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
So noted. Are there any comments, questions, revisions, or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda, I will ask Elizabeth Luskin, ESD's Executive Vice President of Small Business and Technology Development, to present our next two agenda items. Liz will start off with a COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery program update, where we will then take a vote. And then Liz, I'll ask you to then move to the second item. And just for the record, Hope, I saw Elizabeth at the Long Island Investment Fund seminar yesterday at SUNY Farmingdale, and Elizabeth did a terrific job there.
Great.
Good. Elizabeth?
Thank you so much, and it was wonderful to see you there as well. Good morning. The directors are asked to approve additional technical assistance grant funds to 17 entrepreneurship assistance centers, or EACs, in the amount of $88,235 each, and extend the existing contract period to December 31st, 2022. On April 22nd, 2021, the directors approved the $10 million New York State COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program Technical Assistance Grants. To date, $8.5 million in grants have been awarded to 69 organizations to provide technical assistance to New York State micro and small businesses and for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations in applying for the New York State COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program and various other federal and state COVID-19 financial assistance programs. Staff is requesting that the directors approve $1,500,000 to increase the existing grant funding to 17 EACs and extend the existing contract period to December 31st, 2022. These additional grant funds will be drawn from the $10 million technical assistance grants that the board previously approved on April 22nd, 2021. No overall increase in the $10 million previously approved by the board is being requested. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So before this amount, Elizabeth, how much has already been spent out of the 10 million?
8.5 million.
So this 1.5 million will then utilize the balance of this grant.
Yes.
Very good. Do any other directors have any questions for Elizabeth?
Yeah. Are we starting a new center?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? We do not have any comments from the public with respect to this item. I'll now entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Yeah.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, and the motion carries. Liz, please now present your second item, which relates to the New York State Small Business Credit Initiative.
Thank you. The directors are asked to approve authorization for ESD to receive $501.6 million in capital funds under the United States Department of Treasury State Small Business Credit Initiative, or SSBCI. ESD, as the state's designated agency to implement these initiatives, will fund programs that will create capital access, loan guarantees, loan participations, collateral support, venture capital, and technical assistance programs per the SSBCI statute. On March 11th, 2021, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act, which allocated $10 billion to the SSBCI through the U.S. Department of Treasury. SSBCI provides funds to states, territories, and tribal governments to enable these jurisdictions to support programs for small businesses. SSBCI is intended to support small businesses in the form of direct access to capital and through technical assistance, particularly as it relates to recovering from the economic effects of COVID-19 and allowing traditionally disadvantaged small businesses to support the opportunity to succeed in the new economy. The SSBCI is expected to create billions of dollars in lending nationwide and support the small businesses that are often excluded for access to resources to get the support they need to grow and expand. New York State has received an allocation of $501.6 million of these funds. The SSBCI funding will be provided to New York State in three main tranches: the $377.1 million in the main allocation, to be allocated in three phases, each equaling 1/3, with subsequent phases only allocated after 80% of the prior phases distributed. $81.2 million for socially and economically disadvantaged business owners, or SETI, to be allocated in three phases as well. And $43.3 million in a phase 2 for SETI businesses, and this phase 2 funding is reliant on the successful spending of the phase 1 SETI funds. To access these dollars, New York State was required to submit a full application on February 11th, 2022. On August 8th, Treasury approved New York State's final application and provided an allocation agreement establishing the terms and conditions for ESD to receive capital funds under the SSBCI. The SSBCI statute requires that all programs be fully positioned within 90 days of execution of the allocation agreement. I'm hereby seeking board approval to execute the U.S. Department of Treasury State Small Business Credit Initiative allocation. The approval requested today is just to sign the allocation agreement in order to receive the funds. We will be returning to the board for individual approval of the programs we are rolling out under this allocation, which are also summarized in your materials. I'm happy to answer any questions or go into further detail.
Great. Thank you, Liz. Are there any questions or comments from the directors? Hearing none, we have not received any comments from the public with regard to this item either. So I will move this. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Now continuing with our agenda, we will now ask President and Chief Executive Officer Hope Knight to start things off with her president's report. Hope.
Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, directors. I've had the fortunate opportunity to visit different regions of the state over the past month. It's provided me with the chance to spend some time with our talented staff. I've been able to see more of the transformational projects that ESD has supported. And I met with regional partners and stakeholders who are crucial to our economic development strategy. I saw firsthand the extraordinary impact our work is having in communities all across the state, where we're helping to create good paying jobs, that are sustainable and inclusive. One of the best events of the past month happened to be last week in Albany. I was invited to join Governor Hochul for the signing of the Green Chips bill. We were joined by many elected officials, including Senator Schumer. Our partners in the state legislature, like the bill sponsor, Senator Jeremy Cooney, and other local officials, all recognize how important this bill is for the future of our state and our national economy. This commitment from New York State, coupled with the Federal Chips and Science Act, is poised to have a transformative impact on upstate New York. During the COVID-19 crisis, we saw the global supply chains fail. Semiconductor chips, which are mostly made overseas, became scarce. New York is already leading the way in the semiconductor industry, but the Green Chips bill puts New York State in an even better position to bring these semiconductor fabs back to the U.S. at a time when traditional manufacturing has suffered, especially upstate. We have an opportunity to create thousands of good-paying jobs across New York, and we will be attracting companies that want to make a difference. The businesses that sign up for the Green Chips tax credits care about their communities and a sustainable future. The program delivers prevailing wage construction jobs, reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and a strong return on investment for taxpayers over the life of the project. I want to thank the team at ESD, especially those who helped inform this legislation, including Kevin Eunice, Kevin Hansen, Allison Kabir, Brad Austin, Tom Reagan, and Christian DeVoe. Lastly, I want to share a staffing update with you. I'm proud to announce that Amber Rangel Mooney has joined ESD to serve as the Vice President and Director of our Office of Strategic Workforce Development. Amber joins us from the Business Council of New York State, where she served as the Director of Workforce Development. The Office of Strategic Workforce Development has been created to improve the state's workforce development programs and practices to better align with the needs and priorities of today's employers. We'll be working closely with our agency partners, including the Department of Labor, SUNY, and CUNY, and leverage ESD's relationships with employers throughout the state and the greater business community to help identify employer needs early and train New Yorkers to meet those needs. There's a lot to be excited for, and we're happy to welcome Amber to the team. And with that, I conclude my report.
Great. Thank you, Hope. That sounds exciting. Amber sounds like a great get. Congratulations. So good luck to Amber. And yes, the Albany event must have been exciting. We're so fortunate to have Governor Kathy Hochul be so supportive of economic development throughout the state and to have such a great partner in Chuck Schumer, and how fortunate New York is to have the Senate Majority Leader be from New York. And he gets and supports economic development too. So a great partnership all around, and it's going to be exciting to see ESD play a really important role in the chips and semiconductor growth in our state in the future. So good luck with that.
That's right. Thank you.
Do any directors have any comments or questions for Hope? Okay, hearing none. And I'll now ask Ray Salaberios, our Senior VP of the Division of Small Business Capital Access, to provide us with the status report on the COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Program. Ray?
Thank you, Chairman Law. Good morning, directors. A recent Federal Reserve Bank Small Business Credit Survey gathered insights about the COVID-19 pandemic's continuing impact on small businesses, including workforce challenges, business performance, and credit conditions. The survey reported that revenue, employment, and expectations for future growth improved since 2020, but performance largely lags pre-pandemic levels. More than half of firms who participated in the survey were in fair or poor financial condition at the time of the survey, and nearly all firms faced at least one operational or financial challenge in the prior 12 months. It is within that context that I would like to report that the $800 million New York State COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program continues its mission of supporting New York State small businesses that typically have the least access to resources. To that end, the program continues to encourage participation from micro businesses, socially and economically disadvantaged business owners, minority and/or women-owned businesses, and small businesses that did not receive adequate federal COVID-19 support. As of today, ESD has awarded $621.3 million to 35,000 small businesses throughout the state. The program continues to provide flexible grants of $5,000 to $50,000, with the average award being $17,725. As per the program's mission, 98% of awards have gone to micro businesses, 47% of awards have gone to socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses, and 90% have gone to MWBs. That concludes the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I wanted to make sure I heard it correctly. Out of the 800 million, 621 million has been allocated so far?
Yes.
That's great. And is there, do we have a federal deadline to use up the rest, or we use it as best we can, as fast as we can?
Well, we continue to have a robust pipeline, and I just report on what's awarded. We have a robust pipeline of people waiting to get awarded, and we will continue the program until we exhaust the funds.
Got it. But I mean, there's no federal deadline that if we don't spend the rest of the money by December 31st, we lose it?
No, no deadline at all.
Great. That's great. Very good. Anybody have any other questions for Ray? Okay, thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
We will now move to the project section of today's agenda. Regional directors and program staff are on the call with us today to present their items and to answer any questions that we may have. We'll start out in Western New York with our regional director, Karen Utz. And Karen, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman Law. Good morning. The directors are asked to approve a $1 million grant from the New York Works Economic Development Fund to the City of Jamestown to provide assistance with operating costs and administration for economic development projects. New York State assistance will be provided to reimburse working capital expenses incurred by the City of Jamestown and the Jamestown Urban Renewal Agency, as well as debt service payments that were part of a financing package for Tracy Plaza Phase 2 reconstruction project. The fund will support the city's continued work on advancing its downtown Jamestown community development plan that addresses revitalization of the central business district. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the directors for Karen? We have not received any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will move this. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Thank you, Benson. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next up, Jim Fail, the Regional Director of our Central New York region, will now present two items from that region. Jim? Do we have Jim on the phone, or are you still muted?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, Jim. Jim, why don't you present both items and then we'll take separate votes on them.
Okay. So the first project that the board is being asked to approve is a project to SUNY Morrisville. It's a $5 million grant on a total project of $17.1 million to renovate and build a Central New York Center of Agriculture and Technology Innovation Center. The CATI is it's a workforce development center focusing on agriculture and technology and providing critical services to the rural employees, including food product, hemp testing lab to advance applied research, promote knowledge transfer to support evolving enterprises and advance workforce development. The second project is to the Onondaga County Water Environmental Protection, which is an Onondaga County entity which is providing sanitary facilities. This is a $960,000 grant to help cover the costs of the infrastructure portion, which will lower the total cost. The grant amount was the grant amount originally was $960, is now $740, $580 to help with this infrastructure project in the Inner Harbor to the Onondaga County. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, James. Are there any questions for Jim? All right, we'll proceed to a vote. We don't have any comments from the public with regard to these items. The first item is the item I believe that Robert Simpson will be abstaining from and recuses himself from discussion on. So I will move the Morrisville item. Is there a second?
Second, Hilda.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, and let the record reflect Rob's abstention. Now we'll move to the second item regarding the Onondaga County Inner Harbor North Side Sanitary Super Capital. I will move that. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Second, Benson, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? None. As I said, no comments from the public with regard to these items. Both of these items are approved. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to, Steve Hunt, our Regional Director of our North Country region, and he will also present two items from that region. And Steve, I'll ask you to do the same. Why don't you present both items and then we'll take separate votes on each.
Thank you, Chairman Law. Good morning, directors. First, we are seeking board authorization to make a grant of $300,000 to Bionique Testing Labs to be used for a portion of a $1.5 million project to upgrade equipment and technology for the company's mycoplasma testing operations. The project was originally awarded as a Round 7 priority project of the consolidated funding application process in 2017. This investment supports the creation of 5 new jobs and the retention of 21 jobs. The project is in full alignment with the North Country's REDC's innovation pillar and our vision to energize our communities by investing in the biotech industry. The project has reached both of its milestones for disbursement. Our second item is a request for authorization to make a grant of $705,000 to War Cannon Spirits for a portion of a $3.5 million project to construct a space to manufacture, serve, and distribute craft spirits and hard ciders. The project is in Essex County, was originally awarded funding as a Round 7 priority project through the CFA. And this project will create 6 new full-time equivalent jobs. The project is in alignment with the North Country Regional Council's goals of attracting entrepreneurs, investing in placemaking, and growing our tradable sectors. This project is anticipated to be completed by the end of this month. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any comments or questions from the directors? None. We have not received any comments from the public with regard to these items. We'll take 2 separate votes. The first on the Bionique testing laboratories. Is there a motion?
So moved, Benson.
So moved, Benson. And is there a second?
Second.
By Hilda, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any. The motion for Bionique is approved. The second item for the War Canoe Holdings Capital. Are there any comments or questions? We have no comments from the public on regard to this matter. I'm very happy to make the motion for craft beers and ciders and spirits. Is there a second?
I second that one.
Okay, everybody seconds that one. So very good. No, very important part of our economy from Long Island to upstate. It's a growing part of our growing sector of our economy, which is great. So no comments from the public. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so thank you. Next up, Mike Reese. He's our Regional Director of the Mohawk Valley region, and he will also present 2 items from that region. And again, we'll do the same thing. Here are the presentations. We'll take 2 separate votes. Mike?
Okay, good morning, Chairman Law. This morning, I'm asking the directors to approve a grant of up to $400,000 from the Regional Council Capital Fund to the City of Utica to be used for a portion of the cost to design and construct a system to divert surface water runoff from the county's wastewater treatment plant and allow for drainage into Bayou Creek. The incentive proposal was accepted by the grantee in May 2013. City of Utica has designed and constructed a new 48-inch storm water sewer pipe connecting to existing storm sewer at the corner of Oriskany and John Streets in downtown Utica. Due to limited capacity at the Oneida County Water Pollution Control Plant, the City of Utica needed to reduce flow of storm water sent to the treatment plant to allow for increased development within the city. The project's major economic benefit will allow the construction of the new $600 million wind hospital, along with future medical office buildings being located in downtown Utica. CFA capital grant of $400,000 is 8% of the total project cost of $5,264,000. Project was completed in 2021. The project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley REDC's plan to improve infrastructure to allow for additional economic growth within the region. My second project, I'm asking the directors to approve a grant of up to $450,000 from the Regional Council Capital Fund to Metal Solutions Incorporated to be used for a portion of the cost to purchase machinery and equipment to expand production capabilities. The incentive proposal was issued to the grantee in 2020. Metal Solutions has been in existence in Oneida County since 1954. During the 1990s, the company shifted its production to include parts for mass transit buses, air conditioning, refrigeration, and metal cabinetry and furniture. The project included the purchase of an automated powder coating system, new punch laser machine, and upgraded IT systems. The incentive required the company to retain 105 jobs and create 12 new jobs. To date, Metal Solutions has created 14 new jobs and has a total employment of 119. The CFA capital grant of $450,000 is 13% of the total project cost of $3,558,000. The project has reached all milestones for reimbursement, and this project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley REDC's plan to focus on the region's advanced manufacturing sector through the expansion of existing manufacturing companies. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Good. Thank you, Michael. On the first one, Michael, just so I understand, so by redirecting the groundwater runoff, that frees up capacity to allow for the economic growth that you mentioned elsewhere in the city?
Yes, not only the hospital, but we just brought online Wolfspeed, their silicon carbide chip manufacturing plant in Marcy. That also, the waste from that facility also goes to the Oneida County Waste Treatment Plant. So we need capacity not only for downtown Utica development, but for our industrial development within this section of, or this sector of Oneida County.
Right, but for the redirection of the surface runoff, there wouldn't be capacity for these two economic development projects, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Good. No, so it sounds like a very worthy project. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Michael on either item? Okay, we have not received any comments from the public with regard to these items. I will move the Utica City Sewer Improvement Capital. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That first motion carries. And is there a motion for the Metal Solutions Production Expansion Capital Program?
Second.
By Rob, seconded by Hilda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you all.
Okay, so moving right along. Just always gentle reminders. If you're speaking, to make sure you state your name so people know who you are when you are speaking. Next up is Mike Yavoli. He's our regional director of our capital region and will present three items from that region. And Mike, why don't you present all three, and then we'll take three separate votes.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, directors. First up, I am requesting directors approve a $5 million Regional Council capital grant to the Albany, Schoharie, Schenectady, Saratoga Board of Cooperative Educational Services, otherwise known as the Capital Region BOCES, for a portion of the costs associated with the construction of a new 167,000 square foot career and technical education center in the town of Colony, Albany County. The project was a CREDC Round 9 priority project and had a total project cost of over $30 million. Currently, Capital Region BOCES partners with and supports 23 component school districts across Albany, Schoharie, Schenectady, and Saratoga counties. It also, of course, provides continuing adult educational services. Capital Region BOCES constructed the new Career and Technical Education Center, CTE, replacing its current deteriorating building. The new 3-story center will allow Capital Region BOCES to continue providing cutting-edge workforce training in 8 in-demand career clusters, including health, sciences, building trades, and manufacturing. BOCES and CTE will continue to drive the regional workforce and economy by tailoring skills and local employer needs and adapting as industry needs evolve. The project is consistent with the Capital Region Council's talent strategy, of course, by providing state-of-the-art facilities to allow students and adults to continue to hone their skills and enter the job market. In total, they anticipate serving 1,250 students a year, and we'll have 130 employees on site. I had the pleasure of accompanying Hope Knight as she cut the ribbon Tuesday at the facility, and the first class will, of course, be entering the building soon as summer ends here.
Great.
Next up, I'm requesting the directors approve a $363,000 capital grant to 192 Erie Boulevard LLC for a portion of the cost associated with the construction and renovation to create a mixed-use development, including 26,000 square feet of commercial office space and 3 floors of apartments on Erie Boulevard in the city of Schenectady, Schenectady County. The project was a CREDC Round 8 priority project with a total project cost of just over $1.9 million. The building at 192 Erie Boulevard was originally home to a department store and many years later became the headquarters for Trustco Bank. In 2005, the county purchased the building for what was to be a new judicial center, and the space new space was found. The project never materialized, and the county used it occasionally for storage, but it was largely vacant from 2005 on. The grantee purchased the building in 2020 and began renovations and recently completed those renovations. The project is consistent with the Capital Region Economic Development Council's strategy of CORE, building stronger urban communities primarily through placemaking projects. The project's also located in the Schenectady DRI. And next, I have a project where I'll be requesting the directors approve a $300,000 capital grant to the Village of Greenwich for a portion of the construction and renovation costs associated with the renovation of 2 vacant buildings to establish space for commercial tenants in the Village of Greenwich in Washington County. The project was a CREDC Round 5 priority project and had a total project cost of over $1.5 million. In this case, the grantee was the village, but the beneficiary was a company called Greenwich Preservation Group, which is a specific real estate development company formed for the sole purpose of doing this project. The 2 buildings, 54 Main Street, Wally's, and 73 Main Street, were long vacant buildings. They've been renovated. Wally's is a full-service restaurant, and 73 Main Street offers commercial space in a historic setting. It has an accountant on the first floor and a legal office on the second floor. The project is consistent with the CREDC strategy of Magnet, with the goal of attracting businesses to communities in need of industry diversification. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Mike. Are there any questions from any of the directors regarding any of these 3 projects? No. We have not received any comments from the public with regard to these items. We'll take votes one at a time. I will move the first one for the BOCES project in Albany County. Is there a second?
Second, Hope.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Next up, is there a motion for the Schenectady Erie Trustco Revitalization Capital Program?
So moved, Benson.
So moved, Benson, seconded by John Wang. John, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Third, the Greenwich Anchor Capital project that Mike briefed us on. Is there a motion? By John, seconded by Robert. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. All 3 projects for the capital region are approved. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Next up, Linda Mullave. She is our Deputy Director for the Mid-Hudson Region, REDC, and she will present an item from that region for our consideration. Linda?
Good morning. Thank you. The directors are requested to approve disbursement for the extension of water services to Dutchess County Airport project. This incentive is $1 million awarded in round 3 of the Regional Council Capital Fund. Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority has invested $6,812,173 to extend municipal water services to the Hudson Valley Regional Airport, formerly known as Dutchess County Airport. The project was undertaken in 2 phases, beginning in 2015 and completed in 2018. Hudson Valley Regional Airport, formerly Dutchess County Airport, is considered an important infrastructure and transportation facility in the development of the county and the local economy. This project is an essential part of the airport's long-term strategy to improve its infrastructure and to increase its ability to attract tenants and private investment to the airport. Adjacent businesses now have the opportunity to abandon failing water systems by connecting to this water main extension. Water service to this location has allowed other businesses to be attracted and to expand in the area. The water service extension project includes the required airport improvements to facilitate installation of the water line, including site grading, stormwater pollution prevention, and site restoration. The project sponsor, happy to announce, was given an MWBE goal of 40% or $400,000, and very happy to report that the sponsor exceeded this goal and has spent 47% or $469,502. This project aligns with the Mid-Hudson Regional Council strategy of LIVE as it focuses on infrastructure improvements that will stimulate job creation and further economic growth. And also would like to mention a few economic development projects that were spurred by this project were the attraction of the Dutchess Community College Aviation Education Center, as well as Hudson Valley Lighting moving its headquarters to this location. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Linda. Linda, who owns the airport? Is it, does the county of Dutchess own it?
I believe it is the county.
Got it. They just changed the name to Hudson Valley.
Yeah,
Got it.
regional.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Linda? We have not received any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will move it. Is there a second?
Second, Hilda.
Seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next up is Carol Longworth, Regional Director of our Long Island region. And hope likewise, Kara and her team on Long Island did a great job with the Long Island Investment Fund seminar yesterday at SUNY Farmingdale. Wanted you to hear that from me. Kara, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Law. Good morning, directors. This morning, we're asking the directors to approve a regional council capital grant of up to $300,000 to the town of Southampton to pay for a portion of the cost of the renovations of the Shinnecock Commercial Fishing Dock, which is located in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County. The town accepted the incentive proposal in November 2020 and completed the renovations in June 2022. This project was a round 9 priority project for the regional council as it supports the fishing industry, which is one of the region's legacy industries. Moreover, the project made the dock more sustainable and resilient to the effects of climate change. The Shinnecock Fishing Dock is home to the state's second largest commercial fishing fleet, which represents more than 24 boats and hundreds of jobs. The wild-caught seafood processed through that dock is shipped regionally and globally. The dock had been in terrible disrepair and storm damage and could not sustain the fleet. The town undertook to invest and make significant renovations to support the livelihoods of the fishermen and women and to protect the valuable food source. The renovations included bulkhead replacement and dredging, electrical and water upgrades, and rehabilitation of the stormwater retention and filtration area. The total project cost was just over $1.5 million and is complete and ready for disbursement. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Kara. Any questions from the directors? None. We have not received any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will entertain a motion to approve by Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Kara. Continuing on, we have the Market New York Grant Program item, which will be presented by Kelly Baccarizzo, our Director of Tourism Grant Programs. Kelly? Kelly, are you on mute? Kelly, going once? Going twice? We will skip over that agenda item and Debbie will let me know if we find Kelly and we will revert back to that item. So moving on, we will go to Simone Bethune, who is going to brief us on one of the items at the direction of programs. Simone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone. My name is Simone Bethune. I'm a Senior Project Manager with Loans and Grants. As a reminder, at the direction of grants refer to those commitments listed in the New York State budget that enhance the state's communities through cultural, educational, research and development, and civic organizations. These projects originate from the Governor, Assembly, or Senate, and ESD is named to administer the funding. ESD does not select the recipients of funding. Today, we are requesting Director's approval of a $15 million New York Works Economic Development Fund award to Brookhaven Science Associates, LLC, at the direction of the Executive Chamber. The funding was made available under the fiscal year 2022-2023 New York State budget. Brookhaven Science Associates submitted an application to ESD in April 2022, which was subsequently reviewed and approved to move forward in July. Brookhaven Science Associates was founded in 1997 by the Battelle Memorial Institute of Columbus, Ohio, a not-for-profit corporation, and the Research Foundation for the State University of New York for the sole purpose of operating Brookhaven National Laboratory under contract to the United States Department of Energy. In 2021, the U.S. Department of Energy's Office of Science recently established the Co-Design Center for Quantum Advantage, C2QA, at Brookhaven National Labs. This center will build the fundamental tools necessary to create scalable, distributed, and fault-tolerant quantum computer systems that will assure New York State and U.S. leadership in quantum-based technologies. This $15 million grant will specifically be used for development and construction of the Millie Kelvin Scanning Probe Microscope and construction of the Integrated Nanoimaging Facility infrared beamline for light collection and extraction. This new microscope and the infrared beamline will operate within 150 square feet of space at the new center, supporting the Probes for Quantum Information Materials project, a joint effort of the Department of Energy and Brookhaven National Labs. Although there are no direct jobs with this project, the research at the center will attract hundreds of researchers and visitors to Long Island each year. These visitors, who often stay in the area for days at a time, will make significant contributions to the local economy, particularly through patronage at retail stores, hotels, and restaurants. The project is expected to be complete in December 2025. And for this project, we're actually joined by Ivan Strand, Manager of Research Partnerships, and Dr. Eric Johnson, Deputy for Construction, who can provide more detail if needed on the project. And I can take any questions.
Thank you, Simone. First off, I just want to disclose that, as many of you know, I chair the Stony Brook University Council, and Stony Brook is one of the co-managers, along with Battelle in Ohio, of Brookhaven National Lab, but they are not going to be a recipient of the funds. I disclosed that. I checked with council. I don't need to recuse myself from this, but I figured I would disclose that anyway. And for the board members are not familiar with Brookhaven National Lab, while it happens to be on Long Island, it really is one of the biggest assets throughout the entire state, where the state is so fortunate to have a full-scale Department of Energy laboratory. We're the only one in the Northeast. There's a small one in Princeton, New Jersey, and a smaller one in New England, but this is the only full-scale DOE. And if you ever get the chance to come out, you really will be blown away by the work that is done there and the scientists who come from all over the world to conduct studies there. So it's pretty exciting. And this was initiated out of the governor's office and through the state legislature, being processed through ESD. And so exciting that the project's moving forward. Does anybody have any questions for Simone or our guest from BNL on the phone? Hearing none. Is there a motion? By Rob, seconded by Hilda. There are no questions from the public on this item. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None. The motion is approved. Thank you, Simone. Have we found Kelly yet?
Yes, Kelly is on. She was actually on a little earlier, but.
Okay, so we will now go back on the agenda to the Market New York Grant Program with Kelly Baccarizzo. Kelly?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, and my apologies for the technical difficulties this morning. This morning, the Market New York Grant Program will be presenting for the director's approval a project presented to the Roundabout Theater Company. They are a New York City-based not-for-profit theater company with a goal to improve their visitors' experience and encourage economic growth throughout the New York City region. It was awarded a working capital marketing grant of $550,000 in December 2021 under Round 11 of the Regional Economic Development Council. Roundabout will use the grant funds to implement an innovative digital ticketing program to strengthen data-driven marketing practices and increase public safety through minimal contact ticketing and preloading of proof of vaccinations. This new initiative will facilitate more meaningful interactions with the patrons online and in person, and thus foster repeat visitation and even help bring new patrons into the city and overall region. An IP has already been executed, and the grantee is underway getting this project initiated. The required match for this project has been met by the grantee. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anybody have questions for Kelly? Hearing none. We do not have any comments from the public on this item. And Debbie, I'm correct, we could take both of these in one motion?
Yes.
Fine, I will move it. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Benson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so we did the BNL with Simone. Next up, we have two New York Ventures investment items that will be presented by Momo B. She is our director of New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund. Momo?
Thank you. My name is Momo B. I'm the Senior Director of New York Ventures. This morning, we're asking the directors to approve up to $1.5 million in Series A preferred equity into Juno Care Systems. Juno has not received previous support from ESD. Juno is building the next iteration of technology-enabled primary care for the whole family. Access to and the use of primary care in the United States has proven to lower overall healthcare spending and improve healthcare outcome. The American Academy of Family Physicians have claimed that each dollar spent on primary care results in $13 less spent on downstream healthcare. However, the $260 billion spent annually on primary care in the U.S. is only 5% of the total healthcare spending, and it's far below other developed nations' spend of equivalent care, which is about 14% of the total healthcare spending. Juno's inclusive, comprehensive care services provides a one-stop-shop technology-enabled solution for patients and their families' day-to-day care needs. In order to fund its activity over the next 12 to 18 months, Juno is raising a $12 million Series A equity round. New York Ventures will invest up to $1.5 million into the investment, with the balance being provided by private sector investors led by Next Ventures and Serena Ventures. The next item is MyNU. New York Ventures is asking the directors to approval for up to $500,000 in a SAFE into MyNU. The company has received $1 million of funding from New York Ventures in October 2021. MyNU is a software company that provides a voice-based virtual care management system with natural language processing, sentiment complexity analysis to health insurance payers and health systems. Human-based care management has demonstrated a reduction in medical expenditure by about 37% and inpatient utilization by 59%. Although highly effective, it is labor-intensive, especially with the current healthcare provider shortage. Therefore, expensive and challenging to scale. So the human-based care management is currently only focused on the most complex members of the health plans, which is the top 5%, even though the demand for such services is estimated to be about 20%. Mind use product, an AI-based voice bot that conducts check-in phone calls with patients. The information is being analyzed using machine learning algorithms and predictive analytics to detect anomalies, which will elevate to the care team so they can intervene before emergent care is required. In order to fund the company's activity over the next 12 to 18 months, MindU is raising a $3 million bridge safe financing. New York Ventures is planning to invest up to $500,000 into this investment round, with the balance being provided by private sector investors, including AI Life Sciences, SM Ventures, Daybreak Investment, and other investors. For both of these deals, as part of the due diligence process, New York Ventures staff and an external investment advisory committee evaluated both of these companies' business plans and growth prospects, as well as the terms of the investment. As a result of that analysis, New York Ventures and the investment committee both agreed that the market opportunity and the growth potential offered by MindU and Juno Care warrants an investment by the fund and recommend their approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Momo. I don't have any questions. Do any directors have any questions? We have not received any comments from the public with regard to either of these two items. I'm told we have to take two separate votes on these. Each one gets its own vote. So I will move the Juno Care Systems. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Second, thank you. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The Juno Care Systems grant is approved. I'll accept the motion for the MindU Inc. Investment. Motion by John, seconded by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion for MindU is approved as well.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you, Mama. Next up, Doug McPherson. Doug is our Senior Director of Real Estate and Planning Department, and he has a project in Brooklyn known as Clarkson Estates Mixed Use Project that he will brief us on. Doug?
Thank you, Chair Law. For the record, this is Doug McPherson. Good morning, everybody. For the Clarkson Estates Mixed Use Project, I'm asking the directors to affirm findings pursuant to Section 10 of the UDC Act, affirm the general project plan, and authorize ESD staff to take all related actions. The directors adopted the GPP for Clarkson back in May of this year and authorized ESD staff to hold a public hearing on the project. Over the following weeks, ESD opened a 60-day public comment period and held a virtual public hearing to collect oral comments around the midpoint of the 60 days. We received one comment that focused on affordability levels, the number of units for single-person households, and crime and noise controls. Our team deemed the comment to be substantive and negative, and the director's material summarized the ways ESD staff feels like the adopted GPP already addresses the concerns raised and advances the goals of the state's Vital Brooklyn initiative. In addition to the public comment, we received feedback from the New York City Department of City Planning on the draft design guidelines published along with the GPP. The feedback has been incorporated into a set of final design guidelines. These guidelines, along with an approval letter from the Department of City Planning, are included in your materials. Having given due consideration to public comment and to feedback from City Planning, we are asking the directors to affirm the GPP that was adopted in May without modification. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Doug. Hope, it's always a pleasure to see the role that ESD plays in collaboration and partnership, whether it's with the City of New York, our counties upstate, our towns upstate, and municipalities on the island. We seem to really play a collaborative partnership role throughout the state. So it's great to see you and your staff working so well with all our municipal partners. We haven't received any other comments on this matter. Do directors have any questions? Okay, I will move this. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Doug. And we have another Doug up next on deck, Doug Janice, who will provide a summary of all of the administrative actions on the agenda today. And here I am told we can take one vote, an omnibus vote on all of these items that Doug is going to present us on. So Doug, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Law, and good morning, directors. As a reminder, in order to help streamline our board meetings, as the chairman just said, we previously implemented an oral summary presentation process in connection with the administrative action section of the agenda. You receive a full set of the written descriptive materials for each of these items in your board materials, as you have for this meeting. But rather than having individual oral presentations made on each, I will provide you a brief summary of the items. At the conclusion of the summary, we'll then entertain any comments or questions directors have. As noted earlier, we did not receive any comments from the public on any of these items. And following my presentation, any questions, the chair will then call for a motion to approve the entire slate of administrative actions, which in this case are items 6A through 6G in your packet as one action. So the 7 administrative items submitted for your consideration today and for which you have received the written materials are summarized as follows. Our first item is 6G, relative to the authorization to make statutory payments pursuant to the New York State Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program. The board is being asked to approve 5 payments pursuant to the Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program. These payments will offset reductions in tax revenues to the 5 local governmental entities due to the closure of electric generating facilities in their respective jurisdictions. The first is to the town of Tonawanda in the amount of $674,264. The second is to Tompkins County in the amount of $91,185. The third is to the town of Somerset in the amount of $314,570. The fourth is to the town of Cortland in the amount of $348,240. And the fifth and final is to Westchester County in the amount of $1,201,315. Approvals of these 5 payments will bring the total disbursements from the fund to approximately $53 million out of the $140 million budgeted for the program. Our next item is 6B, relative to the authorization to enter into a contract to provide construction management and oversight services in connection with the Buffalo Bills Stadium project. The board is being asked to approve a contract with Lyro Engineers to provide design and construction oversight services for the Buffalo Bills Stadium project. The project involves the design and construction of a new stadium to house the Buffalo Bills NFL franchise for a new 30-year term. Due to the significant state investment in the new facility and that the stadium complex will be owned by the Erie County Stadium Corporation, which is an ESD subsidiary, the services of the consultant are needed to monitor the design, construction, and commission of the new stadium. Our next item is 6C, relative to the authorization to enter into a contract to provide construction services in connection with the Hutchinson Chapel. The board is being asked to approve a contract with Grove Roofing Services to provide construction services, including repair of the roof of the ESD-owned Hutchinson Chapel in the city of Buffalo. The chapel is part of a larger parcel that was acquired by ESD in 2013 due to its potential for economic development opportunities resulting from its strategic location 1 block away from the Peace Bridge connecting New York and Canada, operated by the Buffalo and Erie County Peace Bridge Authority. The work will include replacement of the roof and other minor repairs to the structure. Our next item is item 6D, relative to the authorization to enter into a contract for strategy and framework development consultant services. The directors are requested to authorize ESD to enter into a contract with HR&A Advisors, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $1,056,000. HR&A will be working with the Office of Strategic Workforce Development and its new director over the next 9 to 10 months to develop a comprehensive strategy for ESD's role in the workforce development space. With the help of the consultant, ESD seeks to be able to clearly articulate its unique ability to contribute to the larger workforce development ecosystem and policy efforts, develop statewide metrics and ways of measuring success, and refine its industry sector areas of focus to ensure the agency is aligning efforts with high growth sectors and the skills needed employers need to identify as high demand. Funding for this consultant is through the fiscal year 2023 budget appropriation for the Office of Strategic Workforce Development. Our next item is 6E, relative to the authorization on behalf of UDC 10 Ike Development Corporation 2 to amend the contract with Robert Cohn Associates, Inc., doing business as CBRE Albany LLC, continue to provide brokerage services in connection with the marketing and sale of 10 North Pearl Street in Albany, New York. CBRE has been representing ESD for brokerage services for the sale of 10 North Pearl Street, a property owned by UDC 10 Ike Development Corporation 2, an ESD subsidiary, since July 1st of 2021. ESD needs to amend the contract to reflect an increased commission of $75,000 because the property sold at a higher price than was originally assumed in July of 2021, and because a co-broker fee for the buyer of the property was introduced since the last contract amendment approved in July of 2022. Our next item, 6F, relative to the authorization to enter into an amended contract and provide additional operating support for the operation and administration of the Northland Workforce Training Center. This action will exercise the last of the 2 one-year extensions of our contract with the not-for-profit Economic Development Group, Inc., and will provide an additional $2 million towards the center's fiscal year 2022-2023 operations. EDG was originally formed through a consortium among Catholic Charities, Goodwill, the Buffalo Urban League, and the Buffalo Niagara Manufacturing Alliance, and they've since formed DBA and established a diverse board of directors from industry and the community to oversee the center. The center continues to meet all of its targeted goals, including an annual enrollment of 300, a 67% graduation rate, which is 50% higher than national peers and roughly 3 times greater than regional community colleges, and a job placement rate of over 80%. It has increasingly been cited as a national model for workforce training in underserved neighborhoods for high demand advanced manufacturing positions in the region. And our 7th and final item is item 6G, relative to the approval of pre-qualified temporary legal staffing list and approval of funds to contract with 1 or more firms. Directors are being asked to approve a pre-qualified list of temporary legal staffing firms to assist with the current volume of MWBE certification appeals and authorize an expenditure of up to $1 million in the aggregate to retain 1 or more pre-qualified firms. Subsequent to board authorization, staff will interview particular available attorneys from the pre-qualified firms and will select temporary attorneys based on experience, availability, and cost. ESD will then enter into agreements with those pre-qualified firms that are providing the attorneys ESD wishes to engage. Funding will be provided through a fiscal year 2022-2023 New York State budget appropriation, and the list will remain effective until August 31st, 2024, with the option to extend the duration for 1 additional year at the discretion of the General Counsel. I will now turn it back to our chair, who will call for any questions or comments you may have on any of these items before calling for a vote. We also have item-related staff on the line today to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. We do not have any comments from the public with regard to any of these items. Do any directors have any questions on the several items that Doug just presented to us? Not hearing any. I will move them. Is there a second?
Second, Benson.
Second. Thank you, Benson. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So all of the remaining items on today's agenda were provided to the directors in our director's book of the 700 to 800 pages or so that we were shared with. So, but no, staff does a very thorough job in briefing us for all of the matters that we act on at these board meetings. So we thank them for that. Is there any other business that any director would like to raise? Hearing none, that concludes our business for today. I will move to adjourn. Is there a second? There are 5 seconds. So yeah, thank you. Hope, thank you and your team for a very thorough and informative board meeting today. And that concludes you. Enjoy the rest of your summer, folks. And as the song goes, we'll see you in September.
Great.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.